Hello, and welcome to this month's episode of Three Gals Talk Ghost. And this month, we're going to be talking about how we all got into Ghost, a little bit about our experiences of the Skeleta, and also our top 5 songs from the gigs that we saw on the Skeleta. So I think everybody's okay with that. Do you want me to start, girls?
Yeah, go ahead.
Yes.
Right, cool. Okay, so I have to give a little background here. I was born, raised Catholic, and both my parents are from 2 of the most Catholic countries you'll ever come across. So it was really Catholic in my house. So at very young age, before we did Holy Communion, before we did confirmation, etc., we were pretty much kind of pummeled with everything that was going on with Catholicism. And, you know, you will go to hell if you do this, and you will go to hell if you do that. And bear in mind, we were like 6 years old at the time. So I still remember the day the priest came into our classroom before we had Holy Communion, and he brought, it wasn't a blessed host, it was just the wafers. And he said, right, we're going to practice doing this. So off we get, kind of like did the body of Christ, mouth open, host in, fine. 2 kids along from me though, this guy, body of Christ, and he started chewing on it while the priest went absolutely nuts. How dare you do this? How dare you do this to the host? Blah, 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 blah. And we're all sitting there like age 7 or so going, oh no, what? So we had the fear of God put into us at a very, very early age. So I say all this because this kind of tempered my first experience with Ghost. I had heard of the band, reading lots of different magazines. And I remember being in a newsagent's and I saw Papa 2 on the front of a magazine. And I stood there and it was almost like some kind of, I don't know, some Catholic brain virus kicked in. And it was like, oh, no, this is not for you. Do not touch, don't look at it. Don't look at it. I almost thought if I had rosary beads and holy water in my bag, I would be throwing it around the place at this point. So I walked out, thought, no, that's absolutely just not for me. So fast forward a little while later, and I'm at home and put YouTube on, listening to music, and recommendations came up. And first thing that came up was this song called Cerise. And I went, oh, no. And then I thought, what are you doing? You haven't been to church in decades. You're pagan. You're not anything to do with the Catholic Church anymore. So why? So stop judging a book by its cover, because I always tell people not to do that. And I thought, right, just listen. So do something else, but just have it on in the background. So I stuck Cerise on, and I think it got to the main riff. And I was standing in the middle of my living room with my jaw open, just couldn't move, like I was absolutely transfixed by this. And that's only ever happened 3 times in my life. Once when I first heard Rush, once when I first heard Death Stars, and obviously with Ghost. And I sat and watched this and went, oh my God, what have I been doing? This is great. This is amazing. So, of course, I spent the rest of the day going through as much as I could possibly find on YouTube, watched the whole thing and thought, oh, well, you know what? I don't care anymore. This is it. This is great. I'm completely and fully invested now. And just kept going that way. And of course, then had to find out about the band, read more about the band, and went, wonder if these guys are going to be around on tour anytime soon. Checked, and I had missed Terzo by a month.
No.
So I was gutted. I was like, right, okay, Okay, then I'll see them. I'll see them. So it was just really about then waiting for new releases. And as soon as they came back round again, which would have been in 2019, I went to see Ultimate Tour Called Death. 2022 was Imperator and, of course, Skeleta, all in Glasgow. Very, very different gigs. I think the Ultimate Tour and Imperator were a very, very different beast to the Skeletor, but we'll come on to that later. But yeah, so that's my story about how my Catholicism almost stopped me dead in my tracks from even listening to Ghosts at any point. However, completely, fully invested in it now, of course. Ta-da! That's my story. So, go on, Jane.
Yeah, so mine has been years of missed connection, to be honest. So back in the early 2000s, mid, in the late 2000s and 2010s, I did a lot of music work. I was like really big into MySpace. Like I did a lot of PR and videography, photography for a lot of local bands. And so I was just always in the music side of MySpace. And at the time, I had a huge affinity for anything of the Scandinavian cultures. Like, I was really big into it back then. Like, I was actually trying to teach myself Norwegian, which did not go anywhere. I just don't have I don't have talent for languages, even though I try. So that being said, on MySpace, I used to have a lot of different like saved bands and stuff and things that I would like, oh, I want to go back to. And I do remember seeing Ghost come up and I remember listening to it. And I was like, oh, this is kind of cool. This is unique. No idea what they looked like at that point, right? Because I wasn't really heavy into internet culture at that time. And so I just kind of like, okay, that's cool. And then I got out of uh, that industry because I don't know, I kind of really wanted to pay my rent. So and up and coming bands don't really pay a whole lot. Like one of my bands that I was working for, the lead singer was a driver for I forgot what company it was, but he drove for whatever company that distributed Belvedere vodka. So I got paid in a case of Belvedere vodka one time. I was like, "Oh, this is great," but like this doesn't this doesn't pay my rent. So I got tired of the starving artist lifestyle, so I had to move on. And so I just kind of got out of the music scene for a couple of years. And then I moved to, kind of a major city that had some decent music venues and stuff like that. And I kind of saw things here and there. And then I remember seeing something for Ghost and I clicked on it and I was like, oh, yeah, I remember these guys. This is really cool. And then by then there's actually music videos and stuff. And I was just like, oh. And I got reintroduced to them during the Papa 3 era, which probably explains a lot of my obsession. But it ended up being just a series of misconnections where I got severely injured. So I couldn't go to the one show that was closest to me, by the way, which was 4.5 hours away. Because they just kind of kept going around my state. Like they would go just south of it, they would go north of it. And it's like I could never make it work. or the closest that they would get would be 3 hours away, and it's like, well, I still couldn't make it work because of work or whatever, or other obligations that I already had. Like, it was just years of misconnections. And so finally, on a whim, I saw the Skeletor dates, and I was like, click, add to cart. That's like, I don't know if I can go yet, but I'm going to try to make it happen. And so I bought the tickets before making sure I could actually go. And then when they came back for the second quote unquote leg of the Skeletor, I got more tickets, but then that show got canceled. And then I flew across the country to see another date so I could see them twice. I was trying to make up for lost time. So yeah, it was very much just misconnections. And like, I never really got into collecting stuff until recently. Like, I've always been big into vinyls, so I have a lot of the vinyls, but the physical things and stuff I never really got into because I also was broker than a joke back then. So now I have stuff and things, but very specific stuff and things.
I had to go back in time a bit on my phone for the question about ghosts and knowing ghosts. And ghosts is actually going back for me by knowing ghosts or discovering ghosts in 2015. But I never went there. I only went to the ones in the Netherlands and in Belgium. So that was the Re-Imperator in the Netherlands, the Skeletor in Belgium, and the Skeletor in the Netherlands again. Not again, but Skeletor in the Netherlands. Yeah. So I effectively, for concerts, I've seen them 3 times in concert. Yeah.
But how did you get into the band? How did you first hear them?
I'm listening to a lot of music in like YouTube and stuff as well. So it's more like, because I like metal and I like several musical genres. But because I was kind of shifting in between, like from Guns N' Roses to Metallica to like also the Evanescence things, for example, like all kinds of great stuff. And then it kind of, I think it made kind of an algorithm back then, and I got kind of into the same kind of story as you had. I thought in the beginning, I thought that it was a way different band, as I've said before in several things. With ghosts, it's not what you it's you don't get what you see. So when I saw this, I have missed them numbers of times because I thought like this won't be my thing. So I was like, no, not for me. So when it turned out that this exact same band was my thing, that was quite a shocker. So, and then I was like, okay, because originally I would go to a place called Rotterdam in the Netherlands, and it was pretty close to my house at that point. But then it was a bit in the COVID times, and at that point, when I kind of decided I wanted to see them, nobody really cared. So they were like, no, I'm not going there. And I didn't want to go alone. And I could go, and I knew it would be, I wouldn't be alone, but I wanted to be with someone so I could actually have the fun of being there together with someone. Meanwhile, I kind of brainwashed everyone to ghost, and then this whole thing that was the end of the Imperator, and then the whole lockdown and stuff started, and there weren't any concerts and stuff. So when we actually could do things again, and they came up with the Re-Imperator, I was like, "Are you coming along now?" And it was like, "Yeah." So I was going there with a couple of people that I actually brainwashed into visiting Ghost, and yeah, I'm happy that my husband's still there. So when Ghost is appearing on something, it's always like, okay, let's go there. So yeah, that's my.
It's so funny you saying about brainwashing people. I literally did the same thing. I did that to one of my friends. I was, as
It's a
soon as
cult.
I could, I bought the CD, and like, because you used to go to different places and see different gigs, and I kind of
Yeah.
turned up, bought this for you, and she was like, "All right, okay, stick it in." So I can't remember what would it have been at the time. Was it prequel maybe? And she put it in, and she went, "Oh my god, that's fantastic!" And her kids were really young at the time, so they would have been maybe 6 and 3. So she used to blast this in the car constantly, so the kids knew all the words to all the songs in prequel. And the younger one is my goddaughter, who we took to see them on the Skeleta when she was 11 last year. So they're completely crazy fans for Ghost. But I did. And then I took my other friend to see Right Here, Right Now, and went, "Would you like to come and see this with me?" "Oh, yeah, I'll come along." And then she texted me 2 weeks later and went, "Why have you never told me about this band before?" I was just like, didn't even think about it.
Yeah, I didn't go to the Right Here, Right Now movie just because I was afraid it was going to become a sing-along thing, and I hate those.
Well, it might
Some
have
people
done just
actually did.
inadvertently.
Some people actually did, right? Like in the movie theaters, people standing up and just yapping
Really?
along. Yeah.
Yeah, I was like, I
Yeah.
was so afraid it was going to spoil my experience. I never did it, which now I kind of regret, but
It was
I had to,
incredible seeing it on a big screen.
oh yeah. Well, I mean, I have the Blu-ray now, but yeah, I was looking at the past dates because I couldn't really remember. I was like, I remember, well, of course I remembered so I've actually bought tickets for a concert for one of their shows 4 times, but I've only seen them twice. So I'm at 50-50 at actually being able to see them live. I tried to go to one of the shows prior, and there was a hurricane that came through and it was canceled because of weather, obviously, and so that was the first canceled show. And then the second canceled show was the opposite of the hurricane. We had snow, so then that one was canceled. Like I said, my whole relationship with band has been nothing but misconnections. I looked at past dates from like 2016, 2015, 2016. 2015 is when I got hurt and they played like 6 hours for me. Of course, I wasn't going to be able to do that. And then when they were literally in my backyard, it was during the holiday season, and there was no way I was getting off of work to be able to go.
So you did call in sick?
No, I didn't. I was too much of a good employee.
Yeah, no. I understand. Oh wow. Oh, that sucks. 4 tickets, only 2 used.
Well, I mean, 2 were refunded, but still.
That's not the same, though, is it?
No. But yeah, so that's been my journey. I have to laugh about it, otherwise it's just going to make me sad.
Yeah. So what was it with Ghost that you were like, they are so cool, they're so funny? What was that for you, Raven?
I don't know. It's really difficult to put your finger on that. You know, what is it about them that makes them cool? I think it's just because they're very, like you say, it's not what you see is what you get with Ghost. It's very much what you see is definitely not what you get. And the fact that it's done, you know, almost tongue in cheek. Yeah, and it's fun. It's just so much fun going to see Ghosts. That's what I love about it. It just brings me so much joy going to see that band. It really does. You know, it's not, there's nothing really kind of, I'm going to say the word cerebral here as a Rush fan, everything, you know, time signatures is everything. But you've got to really kind of think about what they are doing. And you do have to do that with Ghosts, but in a completely different way. But they make it so much fun and it's so accessible. So I guess that's what kind of did it for me, I think. And that's why I've always kind of stayed with them. Amazing music. Just the music's fantastic, but that element of fun whilst doing it. And I'm a theatre kid. You know, I taught theatre, I taught all the backstage stuff and things, and I'm very, very much into the theatricality of it all. I think they probably do it better than most out there, while keeping it joyful and light and not taking it in very, 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 very seriously.
Yeah. And for you, Jane?
Yeah, for me, I mean, obviously, I was listening to the music far before I actually saw them visually. But once I kind of got the visuals, first, I will be honest, when I first saw the visuals and tried to match it to the music, I was like, what?
Yeah.
I was like, what? But no, what I enjoy is because I like the spooky stuff, but I don't like the extremely spooky stuff. Like, I'm not a slasher gore horror fan. I like some suspense. So I like the more light-hearted side of the spooky stuff. And that's pretty much what they are. So it's like I get the taste of like the spooky stuff, but it's not super scary spooky stuff.
Yeah.
So I think that's kind of what draws me. And you know, the songs are fun and they're catchy, and you know, I am a child of the 80s, so it's a bit nostalgic for me, especially some of the songs where you're just like, oh yeah, that would have definitely played on the radio back then. But yeah, I think that's kind of how it is. I mean, again, what Raven, what you were talking about being a Rush fan, you know, me being a Tool fan, sometimes you just need something that's a little lighter.
You're a Tool fan?
Yeah.
That's cool.
Yeah. Well, my taste in music is just all over the place.
Yeah.
You know, I listen from like bluegrass to country to rock to metal, everything in between. I just like music, and I like live music and going to see, especially, you know, being able to see like support acts and openers and stuff, because you get exposed to smaller artists. I mean, that's how I've come to know a couple of artists who have become super big now. Like 2 years ago, I went to a country show, and one of the support artists is a girl named Ella Langley, who now in the country world is the it thing. Like, oh yeah, I did see her 2 years ago before she was a household name. So, yeah, I mean, you don't get that experience just by flipping through the radio or, Spotify algorithms and stuff like that, going to see live shows, you get exposed to a lot of things.
Mhm.
And I
Yeah.
love the production side of it, which, okay, this is the funny thing about me. I was not a theater kid at all. I absolutely, in high school, hated it. I hated the theater department. And that mostly was because I was in the art classes. I was in art club. And the theater teacher, the chorus teacher and the theater teacher and the art teacher all hated each other. So therefore that trickled down to to the students. So we
Oh,
had this huge rivalry between the art department and the theater department.
Oh,
So
when I was teaching, we all got on really well together. So that's really sad to hear.
yeah, and I think it was because the art teacher had an ego. She was kind of a local celebrity because she made one painting that was like super popular and became kind of the icon of that little town that she grew up in. And I think everybody else just kind of was like, okay, well, you're not that big of a deal. You need to
oh,
take
yeah.
it down. When you're 15, 16 years old, all you know is this group doesn't like that group.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
it's really weird that I'm kind of attracted to the over the top theatrics and the production and everything that goes on these shows. So
I don't
like
think it is though. I don't think that is. I mean, you're like you're saying you were more into art. I mean,
right.
that all goes hand in hand with set design and things like that. That's not necessarily unusual.
I will say that if I had continued with the work that I was doing with the musicians and had gone a different direction and actually worked a lot more with the sound team and the light designers and stuff like that, I could see myself actually doing stuff like that. I absolutely, if I had made a couple different choices, I could definitely see myself doing that kind of work. Because
Yeah.
I follow so many roadies on Instagram because I'm just fascinated by it, all the logistics and everything.
Mhm.
Yeah. I have the same with fun fairs,
Mhm.
the traveling thing.
Yeah.
Mhm.
I like that. It's so fascinating how 2 days ago nothing was there and now everything's packed with all this light things and stuff, and I really like that. So I always, well, last time that I did that was a long time ago, but normally I would actually go there in the middle of the night, check things out and
Mhm.
how it's set up and how the test runnings are doing and stuff like that. I really love that in a way. It's not the same though. I don't know why. Never mind. Just talk along.
No, I think it's not exactly the same, but it's about
Yeah.
how you set something up and then how you break it down
Yeah.
and get rid of it and move
It's
on.
crazy.
It's
Yeah. How
yeah,
this is
and
just a working thing. Yeah.
that's my thing. I mean, not just Ghost, but with any band,
Yeah.
my thing is if somebody could just say, you know what, you can come backstage and you can go and have a look at all of this stuff, I would be in heaven because I am that geek that wants to go around and go, how's that riser built and where's that done and how do they do that and how's that lighting cue done and how do they, I would be crazy mad running around
Yeah.
looking at things like that. It would be fascinating.
Well, that is actually how I got into video and film and stuff like that. I saw way back, I saw a documentary on the making of Jaws.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh my God, this is amazing. I want to do this. Now, of course, I didn't quite go into the direction for film and special effects and stuff like that because, ooh, that is a tough industry right now.
Mhm.
But I mean, I make videos and do photography and art and stuff for fun at this point. But I would die a happy girl if there was a when the next concert movie for Ghost comes out, and it comes out on, DVD, Blu-ray, or whatever, and then there's some sort of featurette about behind the scenes. Oh, I'd be so happy. Like what they started doing with the Ghoul Bangers.
Bangers.
Yeah. Like the first couple episodes where they were talking to people behind stage, like I was just like, yes,
that's great.
More, please. Yum, 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 yum.
Yeah, I don't think the vast majority of Ghost fans would maybe be into that, but there's certainly a group of us who would be like, yep, give me that kind of content. It's fantastic. Yeah.
I think there's actually quite a few. Because like I said, Ghost is definitely attractive to the theater kids.
Certainly
and cosplayers.
Yeah.
Yes. I was just saying, and the cosplayers.
Yeah.
True.
Like
the thing that still cracks me up when I'm looking to, aside from the whole cosplay of things and stuff, but before I asked Raven what it was that actually brought her so much joy. What was the thing that make her like Ghost so much? And for me, that was the thing with the kazoo online.
Yes.
I love that part. That was so weird.
I think,
but it's so funny.
I think that's also one of the reasons where it's just like, once I got past the original still images, and I saw more and more of the acoustic events and stuff, and I was like, oh, this is a guy who has a really, really good sense of humor.
Mm-hmm.
And of course, back then we didn't know who he was. But I was like, I don't know who this guy is, but he's cool.
This guy is cool.
Yeah, I was like, this guy's cool. He's got a really good sense of humor. And I really like musicians that don't take themselves that seriously.
Yeah. If you see the old videos, online on YouTube, where he's just talking about playing riffs on the guitar.
Mm-hmm.
And the thing where he was just chilling out with, I think it was with Kirk Hammett
from
Metallica. I was just hanging, just sitting there on some kind of tacky chair, just sitting like, I'm doing this every day. Like, it's so casual. I like that.
Right.
I like that. Yeah.
Right.
So will we get on to Skeleta then?
Sure.
Okay, so I think I was probably the first of us to see the tour. We saw night 2 at the Oval Hydro in Glasgow. Obviously, we had a brand new Papa. Didn't know what to expect at all from Papa, apart from what we'd seen, obviously, online with the videos. So it's the very first time that I've been to see a band there where I was sitting, because I'm normally in the pit, down the front, whatever. But we had to sit down because, as I say, I had my 11-year-old goddaughter was there with us. So so it was only the over 14s that were allowed out on the floor. So it was very strange for me having to sit and watch a band, because I'm usually quite mobile when there's bands on. I kind of really get into things. So, but obviously the very first thing, as we all know now, we get Peacefield, and it's behind that big black shredded kabuki curtain, and we were all sitting looking at each other going, what's going on here? Is something weird's happening? Is that curtain stuck? Is it meant to be there? We don't know what's going on. And then suddenly, of course, Papa comes up on the screens and went, oh, okay, right.
Yeah.
So, and then when the curtain fell, it was incredible. It was absolutely incredible. And the place went crazy, obviously. So it was fantastic, but very much, very, very different to the previous 2 tours. Almost immediately got a very different sense, because it was a much bigger scale that they were dealing with, obviously. You know, when you've got the video wall and things behind that, that blew my mind, the whole video wall experience. However, we did have a bit of a problem at one point when, now I'm trying to think when it would be, I can't remember exactly, but there's a curtain at the very back over the video wall and it was over the inflatables at the back.
Yeah.
And the curtain came down, but it caught the inflatables.
Yeah.
And the inflatables just went boom.
Over the keys, right?
Thankfully, they're inflatable, because there was one which was maybe about 5 feet away from Hayden's head. At one point, they got it down very, very quickly, but we didn't get to experience the whole thing because there were no arches there. But it didn't detract from it at all. I mean, it was fantastic anyway. But that was, we went, oh, oopsie, never mind. But like I say, everything was stepped up. The crucifix rig was the thing for him. I just went, oh my God, look at the size of this thing. It was incredible. But the fact that they were using fairy lights, which go right back to gigs in the 1980s. I mean, that was all new tech in the 1980s. But the fact that they were using the fairy lights on this, I thought was fantastic. Obviously, Perpetua wasn't fully formed. It was only the second gig. So it was really interesting to see how, for me, like talking to you guys about how he had changed and seeing things on Ghoul Bangers, on how that character changed all the way through to the point of where he got to at the very end. And, you know, I love Perpetua. I think he's a great character. But when we first saw the character, that wasn't really there yet. Again, didn't detract at all, obviously, because we were there listening to what was being sung. So it was fantastic. And Floating Papa, that I remember nudging my goddaughter, who wasn't paying the slightest bit of attention. We were kind of on the side. And I saw this thing go, and I was going, oh my God, he's floating. And she was like, what are you talking about? And I went, look across there. And seeing it through her eyes was something else, because she'd never seen anything like this before. And to watch her face during this was just one of the greatest joys. Just watching it and experiencing it through her eyes was fantastic. Again, things like the no phone rule, I loved. Absolutely loved that. Because being a little shorty, even if people are sitting in front of me and if they're holding a camera up or a phone up, I can't see anything. So for me, it was absolutely fantastic. It was ideal, and everybody was completely engaged with what the band was doing on stage. So I have to say bravo for making that choice, because that couldn't have been an easy decision to make.
There's more and more doing that right now.
Absolutely, that you see an awful lot of bands doing that now, but they were really kind of like sort of at the forefront of doing that. But such a really brave decision, but really, I think really paid off for them in the long run. But the set list was fantastic. I got a lot of things that I really wanted to hear apart from Elizabeth, but I'm not going to be bitter about that one. And hearing Darkness at the Heart of My Love for the first time was quite an emotional bit, really, hearing that for the first time being sung. So, and I have to say, especially when talking about my goddaughter, the fans who were there, the younger fans who were making the candy bracelets and the ones that had stickers and things, before we went to the gig, her mum did her up as Papa Four, so she had the makeup on. And these younger fans were just so kind to her and so welcoming and so lovely. And they were giving her bracelets and things like that. And she was so happy. And that was her first gig. So that made me even happier, because that meant that she had the best experience there. So we walked out the doors at the end, and she was just like, "Oh, we're going to see them again. We're definitely going to see them again." And I went, "Do you?" And she went, "Oh my God," she said, "I love them. I love them. They're my band." To the point where when she left primary school here, as she would be like she was 11 and a half. They had their end of year disco, and she was the one that was going up and saying to them, "Can you play Rats? Can you play Mary on a Cross?" All her friends are there in the pretty dresses, and she just was just like in the middle of the dance floor, with horns up, dancing away by herself. So it was spectacular, but it was also very engaging, and theatrically blew my mind. That's my experience of it anyway.
Yeah, it is. Yeah.
It was definitely very overwhelming, especially since, I had been trying to see them for years.
I'll bet.
So the first one, like, I had started working on one of his costumes already before I actually saw it live. So when he finally came out in that particular costume, I was just like, I had my little, I was trying to make my eyes focus on every single little detail that I possibly could as he's on, singing and moving around, and I'm noticing what parts are sparkly and whatnot. And then when I was able to see them again across the country, I had a much closer seat. I ended up being just on the side of the stage, on what they call on Phantom's side of the stage, and I was able to see things a lot closer, and I could actually see a little bit behind the drum set, so I could see where, Papa kept going down the stairs, for all the changes and stuff, so I could kind of see a little bit of that. Of course, is fascinating to me. So the second show, I was just I knew kind of the flow of where it was going to go, so I was looking at every single little detail and like trying to take it all in, because it's like, this is the end. I need to take it all in. I need to memorize every single thing. And I will say that the phone ban has spoiled me for all of the shows. Now, again, I've seen Maynard's other bands, Perfect Circle and Pussifer and like that. So, like, they don't put the phones, they don't lock them away. But if you go to any one of his bands, that you don't pull your phone out at all, because if he sees you, he will stop the show and he will shame you and you'll get kicked out. So everybody's pretty respectful, and you don't really have to deal with phones at his shows. For Ghost, given kind of the different types of fans, I kind of understand going the hard line of, no, you're going to lock them up. But that, as somebody who's like barely above 5 feet, I appreciate it, because you're standing there and it's like you can get your view, like you kind of position yourself between all the heads and you can finally see everything, right? But as soon as that person puts their phone up in front of them, it's like their elbows are all way out and just like your view is gone. So that has spoiled me for pretty much every other show that I've gone to since then. Because of course I like live music. I've gone to plenty of other shows since then. And it's like, oh, it's just a different experience. And now I'm just like, how can I get everybody to do this now?
Yeah. Lobby for it.
And like, I was just doing a quick little like search of bands and artists that require you to put your phone away. So notoriously Prince was anti-phone. Like, So I think he was probably one of the first ones to be like, yeah, you're not doing this. But Bob Dylan, Beyonce, I guess, has started doing it. Cyndi Lauper, Alicia Keys, the Lumineers. Bruno Mars has been doing it since 2013.
Oh,
Yeah.
wow.
Jack White has been doing it since 2018. And then She and Him have been doing it since 2013. The Black Crows, the Yeah Yeah Yeahs, and then notoriously any of Maynard's bands, A Perfect Circle, Pussifer, and Tool.
Yeah.
He's always been anti-phone because he wants you to just be in the music, like be present, enjoy the music.
It's the way it should be, though.
Yeah.
I think when I see the difference in between when it comes to the phone thing, the difference that I saw from the Re-Imperator to Skeletor was way different. Because what you're just saying, like, people are much more into the music and what is visually there on stage, what is actually happening.
And what shows did you see? What did you see on the Skeletor? What shows did you see?
Oh, I saw the show in the Netherlands and in Belgium. And the difference was the show in Belgium was kind of the same experience that you had while Perpetua was still building up the character for that. I think it was the 5th show or something. And it was very, well, I mean, the show was good, but there was a lot going on. So from that perspective, it's pretty difficult in a way for me, because there was a lot going on within the band as well. So I think that was the first show that Swiss wasn't there, and everything was kind of falling apart, and there was a different chemistry within the band at that point on stage. Not in a bad way, because everyone was absolutely doing the best they could. But I mean, it was right then and there that you actually noticed how much of an impact Swiss voice had as well within the live shows. So that, yeah, it was kind of, I can only imagine how difficult that must have been, presenting a new tour, a new character, and not being able to rely on your backing vocals because they are live as well within the male voice of Swiss, because obviously the girls were there. But yeah, it wasn't it in a way it was noticeable for people that have seen Ghost before, how much of a change there was. And I'm not talking about the character change or stuff like that, or the song changing or nothing like that, but more like you could actually feel it in a way of how much they were actually trying to make it work in a way all together, because so much was going on behind the scenes. At least that's, yeah.
And you notice what's missing, right?
Yeah, that I was about to say, like, it was about halfway the show somewhere, and I was like, huh? Like, wait up, there's something missing indeed. And it was like I was there with my husband, and then I poked him and I said, what the fuck, Jotty isn't there. So he said, and obviously I didn't know as well, just like the others. And I was like, huh, what's happened? And then my husband said, yeah, maybe he got a cold or something, so maybe he just can't be there, and blah blah blah. And I kind of kept away from the whole shit show that was creating online about
Yeah.
quiz. So I wasn't really thinking a lot about him not being there. And then there was this Discord thing going on, and I was in Discord back then from Ghost, not anymore, but back then. And people were actually on every show. There was this new event created by the Discord server. So every show there was also a Discord server for it.
For each
So I
show.
was in, yeah. So I was in every server for that, and then it was the second show where Judy wasn't there. Third one, and I was like, So yeah, and I must say, while I'm going back into the details of the show, so the performance and the character forming, there was 8 weeks in between, I think. No, I think it was 2 weeks. I think it was 2 weeks in between. And the change was already pretty big back then, because in the show in the Netherlands, there was a full character on Perpetua, full on. That actually grew into that so fast. That was crazy. And then, because of people kept filming sometimes and secretly, and then I heard and I saw some of those videos, and the character never. I think, to be honest, with how Skeletor was ended, that Perpetua was never fully developed. To be,
I agree.
Yeah, I think there's plenty of scope for him to develop more, for sure.
Yeah, because I'm not complaining. I mean, I don't have to stand there and do these shows and blah blah blah. But I think, because everyone knows that Tobias wanted to do like a very big produced show, very big, different continents and blah blah blah, and that never worked out fully. So for that reason, I think if Ghost comes back on being on tour again, I won't be surprised if he will pick up on Perpetua. I don't think it will be changed up in between. I think
that's
so.
I think that's the point of the name.
Right.
Aside from that, because it's meaning like everlasting or eternal.
Everlasting.
Right?
Yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, so in that, yeah, indeed, like in that way, I think you're totally right, because there wouldn't be any sense in changing it up. But I think that's the good thing within the bad thing, that they already picked this name and they can just pick up and continue where they stopped, if that makes any sense.
Yeah.
I think there was a lot more character that could have been in Perpetua while growing, while being on tour, blah blah blah. So for that reason, it kind of sucks. But if they ever come back, I'm sure that this whole character thing will be fine eventually.
Yeah, it'll develop. It'll develop more, I think.
Yeah.
And even if he doesn't develop the character any more by not doing any more of the lore or anything like that, like visually, it's really a cool character to have up there performing. Like I don't need to have all of the lore in the story to enjoy the music in the band.
Yeah, absolutely.
No. Yeah.
It's fun. Don't get me wrong.
It is fun. Yeah.
But it's not required.
You could take that character and, like you say, not have the lore have anything to be part of it. And it's still a really cool character, and he's still really fun. And it'll be fun to see if they come back, what actually happens with that character.
I agree.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm just wondering if they will actually keep the existing band that they had for Skeleta, or it will change up because there are different musicians as well. They have their own things as well.
Yeah, it'll depend very much on things like that, what they've got going on. You know, what's interesting for me is how their costumes might change, and what's going to be the next phase of that. That's going to be really interesting to see, assuming that they're coming back. You know, that's going to be an interesting one. But musicians move on. You know, they've got, like I say, they've all got their own interests. They've all got their own bands and things like that to play. And so, who knows? Who knows? You know, what might happen there.
Yeah.
I hope that they just kind of continue with kind of the same look with maybe some new music or something. Like, again, this is just me. I don't need it to change and whatnot to enjoy it all. But, you know, my big thing, and I was actually thinking about this earlier today. I don't know why it popped in my mind. Like, we all know they're on the hiatus. Like, we know Tobias has other projects that he's working on and stuff like that. And I love that for him. Like,
yeah,
I just hope that the fans don't pigeonhole him into this one thing. Like, if he comes out with a different band or a different project or something else that isn't Ghost, that the fans aren't going to be like
gatekeeping for Ghost, or
yeah, like why are you doing this? You should be doing more Ghost, or not appreciating a creative person trying to branch out and do something else creatively. Like, I hope the fans don't pigeonhole him and force him into like, well, no, you're supposed to be doing Ghost. Why aren't you doing Ghost? Does that make sense?
yeah,
Like,
definitely.
Yeah, it does. Yeah, it does. I mean, people just need. Sorry, people just need to understand that Tobias owes us nothing. He doesn't have to do Ghost if he doesn't want to do Ghost. If he wants to go and do other projects, that's his decision to make. You know, and I think the vast majority of fans understand that and would support in whatever things that he's doing. You know, and if Ghost was to end, Ghost ends. That's all there is to it. But you will inevitably get some who are like you're saying, Jane. You know, it's like, well, this isn't Ghost, and why are you doing this, and why you should be writing stuff for Ghost, and you should be doing that. No, absolutely not. The only thing, and I've said this before, the only thing that a band or a musician owes you is if you go and buy a ticket to see them, they owe you a good show. And that is it.
Right.
That is it.
Right.
Yep.
Yeah, I mean, as somebody who is very creative, like I 100% understand the need to. It's like, okay, I've been doing this one thing for a while. I really need to stretch my legs and do something else. Like, I completely understand that feeling, like 100%. So, like, listening to some of his interviews and stuff about the burnout and, you know, things like that, I'm like, oh, I've been there.
Yeah. And how else do people evolve creatively if they don't do something different? That's the point of being a musician. You know, to evolve a sound, not to stick with the same thing constantly. That would just be, I mean, it'd be boring for us to listen to, but I can't imagine what it would be like to be in a situation where that was what was expected of you and you couldn't be creative, or you couldn't evolve, or you couldn't change things up in any way. It's the death of creativity to do that.
Well, that's like, you know, a lot of actors will get pigeonholed into a specific role, and they can't get out of that type of character. So, as I was the one that saw one of the last shows of the tour, where I had finally seen the fully developed character. Well, I use that loosely, the more developed character, from early in the tour when I saw them versus late in the tour when I saw them. It's like, I don't know how to exactly describe it, but it felt like he was just a little bit lighter in his step. Like, he was definitely dancing and moving around a lot more. There was a lot of interaction. There was definitely a lot more playful banter in between, the songs, when he would actually kind of stand and kind of crowd work, so to speak. I did find it really funny that he's much different than previous characters who would interact more with things thrown on the stage, whereas Perpetua was just like, no, thank you. And like, I kind of appreciate that. And I also kind of understand from a performer on a stage perspective of trying to deter people from throwing things on stage,
Yeah.
because you can't see it
No, it's dangerous.
whatsoever. It's dangerous for the performers. Like, I don't know if you guys are familiar with
Yeah.
Black Veil Brides, but Andy could be a comedian with the way that he interacts with people on stage. Like, people have things and he's like, what is that? Send it to me. And he like plays with it and he throws it back. But I just know that by the end of the tour, I felt like it was a more extroverted character.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
It certainly takes, I think it takes performers a while to become familiar with that character themselves, to understand the character, to understand where they're going with that character. It's not a, click, here we go after 2 shows and it's there. It does take a while to develop a character. So that's understandable. So do we want to do our top 5 ghost songs from the Skeleta that we saw? I have mine written down.
Okay, well, you go first then.
Okay, so I was going to say no particular order, but they are in an order. So for me, Majesty was the one that I really, really wanted to hear. I love that song so much. So I've got Majesty, Lacrima, which I think is a colossal song. It's just fantastically written, that song, and so catchy. Monstrum's Clock, another one that I really wanted to hear. Saw that. He Is and Spirit. Those were my 5 from the show.
I'm trying to find the other set list from the one, because I got 2 different set lists. So I will have to say, okay, from the first show, I'm gonna have to go with the fact that the first show I went to, we got a massive treat, and we get Elizabeth, because we got that one, and that was the energy in the audience when that started was electric. Like, everybody was like, oh my God. So I'd have to say Elizabeth. I do like Call Me Little Sunshine. We didn't get Majesty. We got Call Me Little Sunshine. One of my absolute all-time favorite songs is Darkness at the Heart of My Love. And then I really like the live performances of He Is. Like, I just absolutely love that. For my last one, I have to go. I really liked Umbra live. I really liked Umbra live. I mean, picking your favorites is really hard, to be honest.
It is. I can only imagine it's like picking your favorite child, but
right,
you've got to do it. And I guess these will change. So, Kat, what's your favourite top 5?
Yes. From the pinnacle to the pit.
Mm-hmm.
Cerise. I have. If you have ghosts, I love that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I liked Umbra as well, Lacrima, but also Spirit. So
Okay, we'll give you 6.
yeah. Okay. Thank you. Yeah, I it was pretty difficult for me picking that one, but yeah.
Yeah.
So I got Faith in my second show, which I really, really
Oh.
like. I got Faith and a little bit of a growl at the beginning. So that's one of my favorites too.
Yeah.
I think that's a good place to end with our
Okay.
favorites.
Yeah.
Yes.
And I guess we will see you guys next month.
Yes.
And we know what's coming up just after that.
Yeah. Movie
Film
time.
time.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, cool. Right. We'll see you guys later.
Bye.
Right. See ya.
Bye.
Bye.